Hello, everybody, and happy Pride Month. Thanks for joining us this afternoon for this exciting session with GenderCool. I'm excited to be able to kick it off. I'm only going to talk to you for a few minutes because the exciting part is yet to come. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Paul Wolfe. I'm the SVP of HR for Indeed, and I'm proud to be the executive sponsor of iPride, and this is part of our kind of month-long celebration of Pride. GenderCool is the organization that we partnered with for this afternoon's session. We got introduced to them last year at the Out and Equal conference, and we're really enamored and excited to figure out a way to partner with them. And they're a youth-led movement replacing misinformed opinions with positive, powerful experiences, meeting remarkable kids who identify as transgender and non-binary. They choose to not focus on the negatives of most trans events that they share, like suicide rates or lack of social support. Instead, they share the experiences of exceptional children who are more easily accepted than trans adults. And I can't read, who have been accepted and nurtured by their families and their tribes. It is all about the kids and their experiences and their stories. Their message is uplifting and positive. They take a different approach to it, and they open doors for people who have limited access to or knowledge of trans and binary community. Champions is the term that GenderCool uses for the kids in their program. They're students who started college full-time at the age of 14, photographers who have photos in the White House, actors and activists. Today, we're going to be joined by Rebekah, Eevee, Alex, and Daniel as the champions talking to us today. iPride wanted to bring in GenderCool to raise awareness of the success that comes with acceptance and to show support for our trans employees and employees who parent trans children. And now it's my pleasure and my honor to introduce Jen Grosshandler and Gara Goldstein, co-founders of the GenderCool Project. Jen and Gara, I'll turn it over to you.
Paul,
Thank you, Paul.
thanks so much. We're super psyched to be here. Hey everyone, I am Jen Grosshandler. My pronouns are she, her.
Hi everyone, I'm Gara Goldstein. I use pronouns she, her.
And we are super thrilled to be here with Indeed. Before we start, we just wanted to give a shout out to the incredible humans with whom we've worked at Indeed that has led us to this day. So honest to gosh, y'all, from Shannon and Ashante to Laura and Jeffrey and Brent and Stephanie and Laura B. It's just been an incredibly positive and inspiring experience to partner with y'all and get us all here today. So thank you so much for that.
I wanted to mention also to all the participants today, or the attendees actually, that we will answer every question that's put forward, but we ask if you could please email them to us at info@gendercool.org, because likely we will not have time today to answer directly during the presentation. Although if you do put questions into the question panel, it will give us an idea of potentially just kind of answering any general questions that we might be able to work into the talk today. So thank you.
All right.
I also wanted to just bring up a moment and to talk about the topics that we are going to cover here today. And it's no mystery that the narrative in this country has adjusted a bit, and where we have always focused on the intersections of race and gender with the GenderCool Project, today you'll get to hear from people, from one of our champions who is affected by the layers, the intersections of what that actually means. And I won't go very long on this topic, but there are many parallels between the oppression that the LGBTQ community feels that are parallel to some of the racial inequities that people experience in this country as well. So with that, let's move forward, and I'm controlling the slideshow here as well. So please bear with me. This is Jen, and I'll let her go and explain a little bit about who she is.
Yeah, so we thought before we welcome our incredible young leaders, our champions, to the Indeed stage, that we would just give y'all a little bit of background behind what the GenderCool Project is, like take you behind the curtains, why it exists. And so it starts with a personal story, right? So this is our family. Y'all see that I'm there with my husband, John. We are the parents of 4, including our 14-year-old daughter, Chazzy. More to come on Chazzy in just a quick moment, and I'll turn over to Gara.
Thanks, Jen. So this is my family, my wife there in the middle with me and our 2 kids. I've been married 27 years. Jen and I are neighbors, and the interesting thing about GenderCool, and maybe one of the things that separates the work that we're doing, is that I'm a person who is transgender, and Jen is the mom of a transgender young person. And that experience that we bring together is really unique, that we cover so many different aspects of the experience that families and people have around the topic of transgender and non-binary experience. So this picture below is Chazzy, and that's me with her. And that's how Jen and I came together. Just very quickly, I'd heard that Jen's family had a child that was transgender. I wrote them an email that said, hey, this is my experience. We're neighbors. I don't know you very well, but if you ever have any questions, I can tell you that my family is incredibly happy. If you're looking online, it might be really negative, but it doesn't have to be that way. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And Jen did very quickly with about a 4-page email that said, yes, let's meet. My daughter's amazing, and I'd love to introduce you to her and talk to you about your experiences. And so that's what led us together. And then Jen shared her idea about the GenderCool project.
All right, so here's kind of where we're at. It's difficult, right, y'all, to pick up your phone or take a look at your news feed without almost a continuous amount of negative, inaccurate, sensational, and tragedy-forward information about the trans and non-binary community, with a special focus on our children. And that was the polar opposite to the experience John and I had and are having raising our groovy, awesome daughter. And in fact, the experience that hundreds of thousands of families across the country and across the world are having, raising thriving, successful, talented young people, many of whom you're going to meet in just a couple of moments. So that's where the idea was born, okay? We started as a national storytelling campaign to replace misinformed opinions with real, just like Paul said, right? Real and positive experiences, meeting young people who identify as transgender and non-binary, because we know when folks just have a chance to meet them and see who they are, then opinions just, they change. And so, simple idea, which was we aligned with 6 young people at the beginning. This was a couple years ago. We, like Paul said, we call them our champions because they are winning in their lives and winning in the world. And I'm gonna hand it over to Garrett to tell you a little bit about what content we created.
All right, so I'm gonna show you a video here in a second. And this video is similar to one that every one of our 17 champions has done. So feel free to please visit us at gendercool.org and take a look at all of our champions and what they're doing. You're gonna get to meet 4 of them here today. I promise we're gonna get to it. So let me play this video for you.
Hi, I'm Morgan and I'm all about photography. Photography just makes me feel so good inside when I'm just out in nature capturing the things I love out there. And it's kind of hard for me to believe that my photography has been showcased all around the world, including Vice President Joe Biden's home. Because, you know, I'm only 12, but, well, I think, well, why not? To me, GenderCool means being who you are. Like, there aren't any restrictions. Like, they say to be outside of the box, but let's just get rid of the box. Just like throw the box in the recycling. Just throw it out. There's no box. I want the world to know that people are amazing. And people are just always rushing through life so quickly. And I just want everyone to just like pay attention to all the little great things in life. And just be who you are.
Okay, so we're going to go to the next video here. And I think it's important to know, just an interesting fact is that 80% of people in this country say they have never met anyone who is transgender or non-binary. So it's important to realize that the work we do, the GenderCool Project, was not a project designed to speak to people within the LGBTQ community. It's designed to reach that 80% of people that we just mentioned. And one of the best ways to do that is through media. So I'll let Jen introduce what's going on here.
So we knew that we wanted to target the single most powerful outlet to reach the highest number of people in our primary audience that Gara just mentioned. And at that moment in time, that person was Megyn Kelly. Her following on the Today Show was truly those 80% of folks. So we made history. It's not us. It's never about us. Our champions made history on this day.
Well, the people with me on stage right now are all transgender kids who want others to know it is possible to transition socially with love and support and acceptance within a family and a community. Please welcome 16-year-old Nicole, 12-year-old Daniel, 14-year-old Gia, 15-year-old Landon, and 13-year-old Stella. Their parents are also here. Morning, everyone. Morning.
And from there, everything happened. So here's just a quick overview of the media on an international level that learned of the GenderCool Project and lifted it up to the highest levels. On a global level, you'll see these beautiful quotes.
Yes, we received emails from all around the world and text messages, people reaching out to us saying thank you so much for allowing these young people to talk about who they are. And I think that's really the point with the messaging. And I'm seeing a few through the chat here about achievements and if that's really what would define someone who's a GenderCool champion. We believe that anyone who makes space for people to be who they are is what makes a GenderCool champion. So as we lift up the voices of these young people, I would say that every single young transgender person that I know is passionate about something. And that's what we're sharing. We're sharing their passions, not necessarily their achievements, but their passions, what they do on a daily basis, what makes them who they are. And so when you're watching this, and I saw in the chat there, I think that's just an important thing because yeah, it would seem that you need to meet some certain criteria. That's simply not the case. So with that, we are done talking alone and would love to welcome to the camera here, Eevee, Rebekah, Alex, and Daniel. If you can all please turn on your cameras, and I'm going to stop screen share so that we have a little more real estate here for the young people as they come onto the screen here. Hello, everybody. So there's Daniel, Rebekah, Alex, Eevee. Let's see, where are you, Eevee? Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. I have a lot of screen here, but now I see all of you. So welcome. The first question here I'm going to throw to Rebekah today. And the reason is that even though you're not the newest champion, this is your first time with us in a virtual event. So Rebekah, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And one of the first things we do, and this is really the core of the work we do, is wondering if you would please share with us the experience of what it was like for you when you shared with the world who you are.
Yeah, so from the time I was born, I knew I was a girl, but the world didn't. I always gravitated to things typically girly, and by the time I could have a favorite color, it was always pink. When they would have Fun Friday at my school, I always wanted it to be spa day, so I could get my nails done and put clips in my hair. At 5, I was teaching the teachers, telling them colors are for everyone. You can like all of them. My parents always supported me, and my family was amazing, helping me explore different terms and definitions for who I am. At 8, I found the word transgender, and it really stuck. I could go out into the world as myself for the first time, and with it brought a burst of joy. It felt like me. In the end, just like from the start, I knew I was a girl, and that was that. I am the oldest of 2 younger siblings who, as all siblings, annoy me to death. My mom advocates with me, and my dad's Lutheran pastor. This makes our family very faith-based, and our faith is important to us. Getting the church to accept and support me was a learning experience for all of us. It had its ups and downs because everyone in my congregation had to go on their own kind of journey as I went through mine. It really helped them understand who transgender people are, how to support them, and overall made the church way more inclusive. And that's pretty much my story.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Not so hard, was it, Rebekah? It gets easier each time you do it. So again, thank you so much. I'm going to go next to one of our veterans who's been around for a while. Eevee, how are you?
Hi Kira. Hi everybody.
Hello. Eevee, I'm going to ask you the same question if it's okay. Would you be okay with sharing with everybody today what I guess you would say your coming out story would be?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So like many other trans people, I would say my journey started when I was born. I wasn't just attracted to feminine things like, tutus, barrettes, the color pink, but also just being able to be a female. That's sort of what I was attracted to more. So I would always, I would play with high heels. One time, my mom and we went into a DSW and we got kicked out because I went straight for the high heels and I tried to try them all on, and the manager didn't want me to break my ankle from trying to run in 4-inch heels. So I'd always just been exhibiting feminine behavior, acting feminine, wanting to be feminine. And when I was maybe around 7, 8 years, closer to 8 years old, I went to a store with my mom and I saw this beautiful little denim dress and I just fell in love with it. And I loved it so much. And I asked my mom if I could buy it and she said yes. I wore it all over the place, to the park, in my house, sometimes even to bed. And I just loved it so much. And about a year after that, which is when I came out, I told my mom, I think I'm a girl. And she was taken aback by it because it wasn't just out of the blue because I'd been exhibiting that behavior, but she just didn't know how to respond to it. She was just so amazed by it. And later that night, we went through a book of Pokemon, and I wanted to choose a name from there. And my mom was like, okay, we'll see how that goes. And obviously, she didn't want me to choose a name like Pikachu because that wouldn't look good on a resume. So eventually, I settled for Eevee, and that's my story.
Thank you, Eevee. Each time you share your story, it's just a little bit different. So I'm so happy to hear these details coming out, and absolutely love your name. Someone typed that in the chat as well. They knew Eevee was from Pokemon before you even said it. So another Pokemon fan here with us today. I'm going to go to actually one of our original champions, as you saw in the Megyn Kelly clip. Out of that clip, one of them is here today, and that's Daniel. You've been with the GenderCool Project since it started, one of the original 5 champions, and so always awesome to see you, Daniel, and watch you grow over the years. So welcome, and I'm wondering if you could share your story with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much indeed for having us. I know it's kind of strange to be doing a virtual event. It's definitely strange for me. I've been pretty nervous to do this because it's my first one, and I usually love being on like a stage and presenting. But so my journey started just like everybody else's when they were very young. I didn't want to wear dresses. I didn't want to play with, I didn't want to play with all the more girly things. I always knew that I was a boy. And so as I got older, I started to wear more masculine clothes and I cut my hair short. And this is before I really came out, and I do not think I knew what the word transgender was. And my family just thought I was a tomboy. And so whenever we went to the park and played with friends, there were people who always came up to my parents asking what gender I was going by, because they just didn't know and they wanted to be polite about it. And so one day, after this had been going on for a while, my mom looks at me and she goes, "Do you want everybody to be calling you she and her, or do you want them to be calling you he, him?" And I said, "I want to be a boy." And so that night at the dinner table, I kind of came out to my parents in a way. But it was definitely a learning experience for all of us, because I had never seen what transgender was, and I was only 7 years old, so I didn't really know what was going on at all. But I was just accepting who I was. And from then on, my family, my friends, everybody I know has accepted me so nicely. And I've had a relatively easy journey. And I understand that I'm able to pass as a cisgender male. And I'm also white. So I've had a lot of privilege in my life. And that's also why I absolutely love GenderCool, because I understand there are some people who don't have that privilege like I do. And so we need to bring those people up and help empower them and show them that they're loved and that we care about them.
Thank you, Daniel. What an incredibly thoughtful answer. And thank you for including others in your story. It's remarkable. You know, I just want to tell the champions before we go to the last champion with this question that there are quite a few people in the chat today talking about being here with their families. So I wanted to call out, thank you. Thank you for bringing your families into this conversation and to bring other young people to the table to hear from these amazing young people as well. I know that it's awareness, like the awareness you just shared, Daniel, that is going to continue to make the world a better place. So thank you for doing this work with us at GenderCool. Alex, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. Welcome. And Alex being actually our newest champion, everyone. Alex has a video that is live on gendercool.org, and you can see many of his talents there. I would encourage you again to visit. So Alex, can you please share with us your story?
Yes. So as everyone has said, my journey started off at a very young age. I always gravitated towards more masculine things. I always played co-ed sports like soccer, baseball. I even played football, basketball, a bunch of stuff like that. And all my coaches, as I got older, my coaches would say, "Hey, wouldn't you want to play more feminine sports and play on the girls' team?" And I'm like, "No, I love playing with everyone. Like, I loved playing with the boys and being one of the boys." And I knew from a very young age that this is who I am and nothing will really change that. And like Daniel said, I used to get people come up to me all the time and ask what my gender was, because I was always playing on the boys' teams. And my sister would get really defensive, but honestly, it kind of felt really great inside. And if you look back at pictures from when I was younger, I pretty much never wore a dress. I think there was maybe one time where I wore a dress for my cousin's wedding, but other than that, I would always lean towards wearing very masculine clothes, like button-ups and jeans and shorts. I would never wear skirts or anything like that. And as I got older, I started really understanding what transgender meant, because I always knew I felt this way, but I didn't know how to describe it. And when I turned 13, I figured out what it truly meant. And as I turned 14, I started really understanding what was going on. And then at the end of 7th grade, my friends were like, let's do a crazy hair day thing. And I was like, okay. And everyone just kind of like used like day spray in their hair or something like that. And I came to school with a completely new haircut, and it shocked everyone, including myself. And ever since then, I've been able to live my true self.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks for sharing your story. I'm going to move on to the next question and go back to Rebekah, wondering if something a little bit less serious and maybe more fun would be if you could if you could tell us about some things that you are passionate about.
Yeah, I don't know about all of you, but I have a ton of things that I just love. So now I'm a straight-A student, a National Junior Honor Society member, and a self-proclaimed nerd. I love school and I have great friends there. I'm an athlete, playing field hockey and running track. I play clarinet in my school band, and if I do say so myself, I am pretty good at it. I love the theater, performing in my school musicals, and a summer program. My family and I love the outdoors and getting to be with each other in nature. I also love to bake. I love baking bread and outrageous desserts like crazy cakes and cookie-crusted cheesecakes. I watch a ton of food shows with my dad when I'm done with homework. But what I'm really passionate about is writing. I want to be an author, and I'm so inspired by people who can share their own stories in writing, like books.
Well, thank you. We have a couple of bakers here today. I know that for sure. I'm not going to give it away. Eevee, well, since that's one of your passions as well, I'm going to ask you, can you go next?
Yeah, so I sort of revealed it already right there, but on my GenderCool page, it says that I'm into acting, but recently with quarantine and all that, I've been leaning more away from that, and I've been doing a lot more baking, which I did baking before quarantine, but now it's given me much more of an opportunity to do it, because we're always getting food from the store, and we just have all the stuff stocked up so we can make things that I didn't even know existed at this point. So I just love being able to bake because I love being able to see my friends or my family's faces when they take the first bite into that warm muffin or cookie or brownie, and being able to see their eyes glow up with the excitement of being able to experience that food, whether it be something they're familiar with or of a different cultural background. And then another thing that I would say I'm pretty passionate about is about 6 months ago now, almost 7 months ago, I started a LinkedIn page for fun. I didn't really think it'd get any traction or anything like that, but I sent a request to Gira, Jen, and John, and they were like, oh my God, what is this? I'm not sure if they thought it was real at first or it was like a bot or something. But I love being able to use social media to connect with people and help people understand social media, because I feel like a lot of kids know how to use social media and it isn't really something they would say they're passionate about, but a lot of people need to learn how to use social media for either their businesses or just for themselves. So I think that that's something that we can all do.
You are my favorite LinkedIn connection. I will just say that right now. I love what you're doing. Thank you so much for connecting with me. And I'm going to go over to Daniel. Can you please share with us some of the passions that you have?
Yeah, definitely over quarantine, I have enjoyed making a lot of cards. I spend quite a long time making these elaborate cards for people, and I love it because I'm able to get into like a creative state and then be able to ship these cards out, and then just, I won't be able to see their reaction, but I'll be able to think it, and I'd hope they'd be smiling. But we got 2 dogs right before quarantine, so I have been spending a lot of time with them. We got an Irish setter and a golden retriever, so that has been a lot of fun. But when it isn't quarantine, I enjoy acting a lot, and just being able to be on stage. I've suffered from dyslexia my entire life, and so I had a very difficult time in the past feeling comfortable and feeling smart with who I was, and being able to stand up in front of people and just be able to project my voice. But now, especially from GenderCool, it's really helped me gain confidence and be proud of who I am. And so this year, one of my favorite things we did in school was we read Romeo and Juliet. So I got to play Romeo for most of the time, which was a lot of fun, and I felt very confident. And yeah.
Thank you, Danielle. And thank you for those words about GenderCool. I'm so incredibly grateful that you have this platform, and I have watched your growth and watched you gain confidence in front of people. And to say that you are a different person would not be accurate, because you're just still the amazing, warm, caring person. But seeing your confidence grow over the years has been truly inspiring. So again, we're so glad you are here with us. And for those champions that are just starting out and hearing Daniel's words, I hope they inspire you as well, that, you know, these conversations initially are difficult to have. They're always difficult. I think that people in the LGBTQ community, we come out all the time. We talk about our identities all the time. And it's never easy because it's intimate and it's private. And so thank you. Thank you all. I'm going to move over to Alex, if you can share with us some things that you're passionate about.
Yes, thank you. So I love acting, technical theater, and music. I've been playing the guitar since I was 5 years old, so it's been about 10 years now. And I've loved it all the time. I played the cello for a little bit in middle school, not high school. And I currently go to an arts high school, which is filled with a bunch of different people, from dancers, visual artists, like drawing, singers, actors, cinematographers even. And I get to interact with all these different departments, and it is amazing because I get to interact with completely different people with different mindsets and different ideas. And I think that's one of the things that I love about acting. You always get to, because when you're on stage or on screen, you get to become a new person and get to kind of figure out a whole new story to tell throughout like one person's memory. And recently, since quarantine happened, I sadly haven't been able to do as much acting, but I've actually started kind of developing a new passion, which is writing. I've never been good with English. Math is always my strong suit, but one of my best friends is, we're kind of like polar opposites. He's iffy at math and I'm great at it, and same thing with English. But between the two of us, we've been able to start writing our own script about our friend group, and it's been amazing. He's kind of like the editor. We both come up with ideas, and then I kind of write it out and he corrects all my stuff, and it's been great. But also I love writing about the LGBTQ community, and recently I have started writing a little series of monologues about different people I know with their permission. And I'm probably not going to do anything with it, but it's just kind of like a little fun exercise to keep my creativity flowing.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait. I'm sure you will film this script eventually. And I can't wait to see it. So thank you. I'm going to go to Rebekah. And Rebekah, I'm going to ask you just kind of a question about the workplace a little bit. As you know, I'm sitting here looking at all of you, knowing that at some point you're going to enter the workforce. I'm wondering if you could share, maybe your vibe about what it is that companies could do, or what it might look like for you as you prepare to think about your futures. And a company like Indeed, for instance, that we're with today. Is there any messaging, Rebekah, that you would like to share?
Yeah, just to look at all people equally, and as though like being transgender, it's not something weird or abnormal about us. It's just being who we are, and there's nothing bad about it, and that our gender doesn't define us in any way.
Awesome, thank you. You are all very wise. Another question, and I think, we touched on it a little bit at the beginning, as we're seeing in this country the Black Lives Matter movement and discussions about racial equity. And, Eevee, as a person who is Black in this country and also transgender and also female, there's a lot of layers there. And you're also young. So you have a unique perspective, and wondering if you could share with us what you're thinking.
Yeah, totally. So in the past, and even sometimes right now, there's been a lot of tension between the LGBT and African American community, and I can't say exactly why that's happening, but me and a lot of other people, I think that it might be because more of it's like a place where we back down and we get all tensed up. But I think all this happening with all of the protests with Black Lives Matter and Pride happening right now, because it's June, I think that that's going to be a great way to bring these two communities together that haven't always been together in the past. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think you're right. There's a lot of tension between communities, between marginalized communities, and there's people that are way smarter than me that have written about it. And, I will reach out to you all to point you to some of that writing where, they explain why marginalized communities seem to oppose each other. And from what I've learned, it appears that, it's that same systemic oppression that puts us against each other in different marginalized communities. We are purposely put against each other by powers that are thinking about how to strategize against us. So I'm going to reach out to y'all with some information, how you can learn more about that. So thank you. I'm going to say again to all of you, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your stories as we move forward with GenderCool, and we all grow and we all evolve. It's because of what you share with us. It is your voice, your young, youthful, amazing perspectives of equity and inclusion and belonging that are truly making a difference for people that meet you. And I know this because of the response that we get. So you are doing incredible work by just being yourselves. So thank you so much. I'm going to ask Jen to come back on. You all can breathe a little bit of relief. Please stay with us, but you can turn your cameras off, grab something to drink if you'd like. And so Jen, welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back to sharing your screen.
Thanks. Awesome.
And move forward with our takeaways today, and we'll have Jen start there.
So, as many times as Garrett and I have the honor of listening to and being led by the voices that we just heard, I'm struck every single time by by their just deep knowledge, their deep power, that they are going to be building the future that is right and that is just and that is productive for all people. It's a personal joy to be able to hear them. So here's something very interesting. So, you know, as we speak as the GenderCool Project with, you know, corporations from all over the globe, Indeed is a very, very unique partner and a unique entity. We know, right, y'all are, you know, the global, you know, employment opportunity search engine, you know, exist in what, like 60 countries, maybe in like 20 some odd languages, maybe more. And you're, you know, you are helping humans to find, you know, the not just the job or an opportunity, but the right opportunity. And something that is so incredibly important here to the discussion today is that the more we all understand, and I'm counting myself in this, the more we all understand what is important to the next gen workforce, what do they value, what do they require in a workplace, right? So they talk about belonging and inclusivity, and the ability to just be you at work. It's so, so important, especially for marginalized communities. One of the biggest things that we work with now is the deep concern and the deep importance of employment. So for the transgender and non-binary community, and for all humans, all marginalized humans, right? The ability to be properly employed where you feel productive and you feel fulfilled and you feel like you're contributing is something that is irreplaceable. So when we say here, you know, move quickly and embrace change, what we're talking about are two things. One is, you know, we have to be inclusive and make space for the important and difficult conversations that we all have to keep having, so that equality and equity becomes the default for each human being. And we know that we have work to do. The second thing is the ability to listen and understand, okay, this next generation that's coming up, these leaders, this is what they want. And so every company, every employee in every division, whatever y'all can do, whatever we all can do to expand how we think, how we view each other, understand what are the right ways to communicate and the right words to choose, and all of these things, the faster we can get our arms around that and jump into that, the better and stronger and more loving and productive we're going to be together.
Great, thank you, Jen. So I'm going to bring up the last 2 points here and just kind of go over them together. I agree with everything that you said, Jen. I think that, you know, in marginalized communities, employment is one way where equity changes lives. So being here in this space today with Indeed is absolutely critical in your efforts to continue to speak about LGBTQ equity. And now that the Supreme Court has ruled in employment for LGBTQ people not being discriminated against, or I should say fired for being who they are, is massive. And so I think, you know, for our community, finding employment in much of the country has just improved in major ways. And there's going to be many companies that are going to jump in and really try and learn how to recruit a segment of people that they may have never done in the past. So that's what we're hoping for in working in this space. But how do you elevate your allyship to a new level or replace those opinions with the actual experience like you had today? So I want to give you some real world example, right? So how do you do that? What does it look like? How can you actually make a difference with how you approach this topic, whether you're talking about transgender or non-binary people? We have a champion who is non-binary. They did not join us today, but I think that's the next very important conversation, is understanding non-binary people and the experiences they have. But as an example, today you met 4 people, young people who are transgender. You've met me, who is an adult transgender person. And if you're in a conversation, maybe over the holidays or with your friends that haven't been exposed to the experiences you have, maybe you hear them talking in a negative way about the transgender or non-binary community. And I would encourage you to step in as an ally and say, you know, I know 5 transgender people, and that stuff that you're talking about, those negative comments, that's simply not my experience. So in that space, you're not opening yourself up for a debate. My life and the life of the champions you met today, it's not debatable. We are who we are. And you have an experience now which is different from the opinion that the person you're talking to has shared. And I have learned in my lifetime that a person's experience is way more powerful than another person's opinion. And so by stepping in and sharing your experience, you really can help change people's opinions. They might say, wow, 5 transgender people, what was that like? Or where did you meet them? Or what does that mean? And you might spark some interest. Additionally, if the conversation maybe is a little more hostile, and some of us have and work and live in those environments, I would encourage you to step in maybe a little bit different way and turn the experience on the person asking those questions or making those statements, and say something along the lines of, you know, that negativity that you're talking about, that stuff that you're saying about transgender and non-binary people. How many transgender non-binary people do you know? And the answer likely will be none. At least that's my experience. When people don't know my gender identity and I question them about the experience they've had around transgender people, and then if I feel safe, disclose my own gender identity, it changes people because they simply haven't had the experience of meeting someone like me or meeting people like the champions that you met today. So Jen and I would like to say to all of you, thank you. Thank you for attending today. Thank you for bringing your families. That is just so incredibly moving. We've done quite a few of these events, and I'm sure some people have brought their families, but we didn't see it in the chat. So thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you to the other young people that joined us today. Thank you to Indeed for hosting us. And I'd like to bring back 2 people, amazing people from Indeed, who will kind of close the event today. I'd like to ask Ashante and Shannon to join us here. And again, if you have any questions, I would encourage you to reach out to us at info@gendercool.org. Please send any questions that you may have posted in the chat, and we can answer them directly. Jen and I actually get that email. It comes directly to us, so it will not go into some kind of filter system. So thank you, everyone. And now I'd like to welcome Shannon and Ashante.
Thanks, Kira. Hi, everyone. My name is Shannon Banks. I am the iPride co-chair here for the Americas region, and my pronouns are he and him. Jen, Gara, wow, just wow. That was inspiring. It was uplifting. It was simply amazing. A virtual round of applause for you, Jen, you, Gara, all of the GenderCool champions, Rebekah, Eevee, Daniel, Alex. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing your truth. Thank you for your time today.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
So on behalf of iPride and Indeed, a huge thank you to everyone who helped make this event a success. GenderCool, Indeed, the entire AV and logistics team behind the scenes, and a huge thank you to our very own SVP of HR and the iPride executive sponsor, Paul Wolfe. Thank you so much. And then although she's new to the Indeed family, but very much already feels like a strong part of the family here, Laura Folks, huge thank you to you as well. The entire DNIB team here at Indeed, thank you. Now, if you want to show your support for GenderCool, you can donate at gendercool.org/Indeed. That will be shared out with the recording webinar later today. And we thank you all for this amazing opportunity, your time, and we hope that this is the beginning of a beautiful partnership for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you so much. I echo everything that Shannon has said. I'm Ashante, and my pronouns are she and her. I just really wanted to say thank you so much for joining. It was an amazing experience all around.
Ashante and Shannon, I will close out by saying thank you both so much for spearheading this. Jen and Gara and the champions, like, we truly appreciate it. It was an inspiring conversation. And thanks to the over kind of 250, 280 people, Indeedians, that joined this conversation. Thanks so much and have a good afternoon and happy Pride.
Happy Pride, everyone.